2 chairs, 1 glass table, no audience to impress, no applause to lean on, just cameras humming and 2 people with very different ideas of honesty. He came with questions. She came with a smile sharp enough to cut. For the first 10 minutes, they danced. For the next 30, they sparred. By the end, only 1 chair was still warm. The set looked like a designer therapist's office stripped of comfort, soft lights, neutral tones, and a hanging mic that drew a ring of silence around them. Trevor Noah arrived early, as he always did, sleeves rolled, humor arranged neatly beside his note cards. He'd insisted this version of his show stay simple, a real conversation, not a circus. 2 chairs, no band, no crowd to gasp or groan. Just questions, and maybe some truth. Meghan Markle entered calmly, the scent of schedule and certainty trailing her. Her blazer perfect, her posture flawless. She shook Trevor's hand like a practiced gesture, smiled as her mic was fixed, then glanced at the empty risers where an audience might have sat. For a second, her smile faltered, then brightened too much. "Cozy," she said, sitting. "Very grown up," Trevor grinned. "I like that, grown-up television. We should print it on mugs." The red tally light blinked on. Trevor looked straight at camera 1 and opened with his easy warmth and wit. "Good evening." Tonight on What Now? A conversation, no spin, no crowd, no escape. I'm joined by an actor, producer, podcaster, someone whose name has been in headlines longer than most of us have had leases. Meghan Markle. "Welcome." "Thank you," she said. "Nice to be somewhere that doesn't turn everything into a spectacle." "That's the idea," Trevor replied. "Just us, some tea, and the truth, however it shows up." "Truth is subjective, Trevor," she said lightly. "But I'm sure we'll get along." "I've found truth's less subjective than how we feel about it," he said, turning a note card. "Let's start easy. How are you? Not the brand, not the headlines." "You happy?" "Grounded," she said, taking a sip of water. "Focused on my family, real things, not noise." "That's good," he said. "But the noise exists for a reason. People are curious. You've been both a story and a symbol. What do you wish people would stop assuming?" "That I'm a tale to be consumed," she said gently. "I'm not a parable or warning. I'm a person who made choices. And I see through questions that pretend to be compassion." Trevor smiled. "No compassion traps here. We check the legs on our chairs." "I've learned to check myself," she said, relaxing slightly. He asked about peace, about raising 2 famous toddlers under constant eyes. "How do you find peace?" "By saying no," she said. "By living in Montecito, where fog is kinder than paparazzi. By choosing my circle and remembering I don't owe anyone anything, not even interviews. I'm here because I chose to be." "And I'm glad," he said. "Consent is sexy." She laughed softly. "You joke and people think you're harmless. I'm like a raccoon with a lockpick. More like a raccoon with a podcast." They both laughed. But under the laughter, tension took root. "Let me ask about family," Trevor said carefully. "How is Harry?" "He's wonderful," she said. "Kind. Better than rumors allow. We have a home. We're happy." "The headlines." "Yes, the headlines," she cut in. "People who don't know us trying to narrate us. It's amusing if you like fiction." "I do," Trevor said. "But I like context too." He hesitated. Reports suggested strain. "Were they false?" "Rubbish," she said quickly. "It's not the asking. It's the framing. We're not a public service. We don't have to confirm every fantasy." "Fair," he said. "But what do you say to people invested in your marriage?" "I'd say stop being invested. Invest in yourselves," he nodded. "That'll be the headline when we're fine." "It always is," she said. Trevor shifted. "When the Queen passed, did that change anything for you?" "It reminded me people love myth," she said. "Monarchies run on it. So does celebrity. Everyone wants a role, mourner, critic, exile. I chose mine. Mother, wife, creator, someone who doesn't need approval from institutions not built for me." He nodded quietly. "Do you still speak with the family?" "Kate, William? I talk to who I need when I need," she said evenly. "Not for strangers' satisfaction." "I get that," he said, laughing lightly. "I barely schedule my dentist." "You should," she said. "Teeth matter on camera. How's life in America?" he asked. "Better," she said. Quieter. Kinder. The sun's warmer, and I don't live under someone else's legacy. Spoken like an immigrant's granddaughter, he teased. Spoken like a woman who stopped waiting for permission, she countered. You were an actor before all this, Trevor said. People still ask if you'll act again. People ask because they're nosy, she said. If I do, it'll be for something meaningful, not nostalgia. He smiled. Art with purpose. Art with boundaries, she corrected. Journalism could try that. Ouch, he laughed. This show respects boundaries. You decline, we move on. It never starts as an interrogation, she murmured. It just becomes one, he smiled. Then what do you wish I'd ask? Ask what I'm building. Okay, what are you building? A life where my children won't think crowds decide who they are. Work that values compassion as truth, not as a slogan. That's beautiful, he said sincerely. But the internet prefers chaos. The internet prefers dogs chasing drones, she said. I'm not required to perform. True, he said, but you're here. Performance has its uses. Control has its uses, she replied, smiling dangerously. Trevor set his cards aside. One more before the break. You talk about privacy, but your work keeps you public. Isn't that conflict? It's called controlled visibility, she said coolly. I decide what's shared. That's empowerment. Sometimes empowerment looks like performance, he said softly. Excuse me? She asked sharply. You perform power well, he said. It's a compliment. She smiled tightly. Compliments sound strange when they sting. The tally light dimmed for a break. Trevor leaned over. You okay? I'm always okay, she said, not meeting his eyes. You know I'm not here to corner you. Everyone says that, she replied. Then they do anyway. He smiled faintly. Maybe tonight's different. Maybe, she said. The light blinked red again. When they returned, his tone was easy, hers polished. Let's finish strong, he said. Always, she smiled. Do you ever think about what might have been if you'd stayed? She smiled thinly. The only game I play is chess, Trevor. He grinned. That's the diplomat talking. Or the survivor, she said. You learn to read people when everyone wants a piece of you. Even interviewers? Especially them. He leaned forward. You walked away. You won. I didn't win, she said coldly. I chose peace. Peace and control can look alike, he said gently. She laughed once without humor. You really can't stand a woman drawing boundaries without calling it control. I can, he said evenly. But boundaries aren't immunity. You mistake them for that. That's a male way to see it. It's a human one, he said. You preach empathy but treat curiosity like attack. Because it usually is, she snapped. You all come smiling with traps. No traps, he said calmly. Just questions. But maybe that's why people struggle to connect. You build walls too high. I don't need them to connect, she said sharply. That's exactly it, he said softly. You talk about kindness, but sound like you despise everyone. Her tone dropped. You know nothing about what I've lived. I'm not denying your pain, he said. But pain doesn't excuse disdain. She stood suddenly. You wanted your clip? You got it. He stayed seated. I'm not your enemy. She looked down at him, controlled but furious. No, just another man calling condescension curiosity, he sighed. And you're another guest mistaking disagreement for disrespect. Silence stretched. Then she unclipped her mic, set it down gently, and smiled faintly. Good luck with your grown-up television, she said, walking off. Her footsteps echoed down the hall as the cameras kept rolling. Trevor rubbed his temple, then looked at camera one. Well, he said softly, that's one way to end a chat. A pause. Note to self, schedule that dentist. The tally light faded. 2 glasses remained, one half empty, one untouched. No one moved. The interview was no longer a conversation. It was a collision. Trevor stayed calm. Meghan walked out, and the internet hasn't stopped talking since.